first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fox 12 Now. We're going to get started here in just a second, but I had to pull up that shot right there. That is our live camera from the Oregon coast in Lincoln City. I mean, that looks amazing right now. I don't know whether it's cold or not, but either way, looks pretty cool. I had to show that to you. Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Nibbler, and thanks for joining us. Of course, we are live here every weekday starting at 1 p.m. We are live streaming on our website, on our apps, and on social media as well, on Facebook and YouTube. So always ways that you can share the show or the segments that we get to talk about afterward. And right now, though, to start off, we're going to be talking about, as it says right there, guide dogs for the blind. I am really interested to learn more about this, how it works, what the great work that they do, and also there is a holiday fundraiser coming up. We're going to talk about that too. But to do so, we are joined now by the CEO herself, Chris Benninger. Chris, thank you very much for being here with us today.
Oh, Greg, thank you so much. Thanks for your interest in learning more about guide dogs for the blind.
I mean, it's amazing work that you do, and we were talking about this off the air. I'm like, I love the fact, all the things that you do to help people out. I'm like, I don't really know how it works, how that happens. So, how's the magic happen on there? So I was hoping, just to start off, could you give us just like a general definition of what Guide Dogs for the Blind does?
Yeah, so Guide Dogs for the Blind is, really all about giving people with low vision, people who are blind, independence, confidence, and being able to essentially move through the world the way they want to move through the world, achieving their own goals. And we do that through the use of a well-trained guide dog.
I would imagine too, with varying different levels of eyesight or abilities, that would probably change what the dog is trained to do as well.
Actually, not quite true. Our dogs basically are trained to essentially guide somebody through the world safely. Depending upon your level of vision, it's the client who has to learn to adjust. Basically, what using a guide dog is all about is you have to relinquish 100% control to the guide dog.
Interesting.
That's hard for us as humans to do. Yes.
I would imagine so. Yeah, to just completely give up control and go with your dog.
Yes, absolutely. Because if you're trying to second guess your dog, then your dog's going to say, hey, okay, you're in charge. You take over now. And the reason you have a guide dog is because, based on your level of vision, you are not safe to travel without some sort of an aid.
So starting, I guess, from the base level, let's talk about the dogs, and then we'll talk about the people side. But for the dog side, how do you go about even beginning to train a dog for something like this?
Sure. So Guide Dogs for the Blind, we have the largest breeding colony of labs and golden retrievers in North America. So we actually breed our own dogs, and the creation of a guide dog starts at the DNA level. We're literally making decisions about what we need in a dog, really at that breeding stage. But we start training our guide dogs at 5 days of age. So at 5 days of age, yes, we have volunteers, and I want to do this job when I retire, that are called cuddlers, that sit with our babies and cuddle them, touch them, get them used to being around humans, get them used to human touch. It starts there, and obviously that training progresses over the next 2 years. So it takes about 2 years to fully train a guide dog.
2 years. So starting at 5 days old. That sounds like a really rough job, by the way. I know it's a very important job, but I mean, that's a pretty good gig.
It's a great gig, let me tell you. Yeah.
Well, so you mentioned you start at the DNA level. So what are the traits, the key traits that you're looking for when it comes to finding a guide dog?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, health, obviously. And, and we breed labs and golden retrievers, and then a combination of the two, a cross between the two. So over the years, we've really honed this colony, and our labs and goldens actually are healthier and live longer than the labs and goldens that you're going to, encounter sort of, I call it, in the real world, right? But we're breeding for health. And from a temperament standpoint, we're breeding for confidence, but not dominance. We're breeding for sociability because these are dogs that have to be in public. These are dogs that, are caring, for their client. Um, and, we're also breeding for manageability. So, our dogs work with clients who have a range of dog skills. So have to be very manageable.
And you said it's 2 years, 2 years to fully train.
2 years to fully train. Yeah.
So that's quite an investment and a lot of time to really bring a dog up to that level. So once they reach the 2 years of age, what would the dog's general abilities be?
So, when a dog graduates with their client, and I can maybe just say too that we also train our clients. So it's not just, okay, hi, here you go, here's your dog.
Yeah.
Our clients come and live with us for 2 weeks. We have hotels on each of our campuses where they learn to work with their guide dog. And every guide dog is different. Every client is different, right? So it's really learning that partnership. But some of the key things that, our dogs learn over that, uh, 2 year period of time, interestingly enough, one is learning to walk in a straight line. That's not a natural thing for dogs. Um, Secondly, one of the most important skills is what we call intelligent disobedience. And so that's a skill where if they're given a command to, let's say, cross a street, and their handler is not hearing that electric car that may be making a right-hand turn, right? I have trouble with that.
Right.
Uh, the dog is trained to disobey that command and pull the person away from the street rather than into the street. Now that's a very tough skill to learn because you have to say no to your boss. And I don't know how many of us feel comfortable saying no to our boss. Most of us don't, right?
Right.
Same thing with dogs. So it's learning to do that. Our dogs learn to indicate elevation changes for our clients. So if they're coming to, let's say, a set of stairs, a dog will stop, which means that that there's something in front of our client, and the client has to indicate to the dog, oh, yes, I realize it's a stair. And so the dog will stop at each stair. So the client knows that when they finally get to the top, they're at the top, then the dog goes. Um, the dog, our dogs are trained, say you get on a bus, are trained to take you to the nearest empty seat. So,
That's
you know,
incredible.
yes, it's truly incredible. And the partnerships and the relationships that our clients have with our dogs are remarkable as well. And that relationship over time, just like a marriage, right? You get closer and closer, and you each understand each other's idiosyncrasies, and pretty soon you're almost not having to give a command because your dog understands what you want, you understand what your dog is doing, and it's just seamless.
What is the matching process like for matching up a client with a dog?
That's a big process for us because every dog is different, every client is different, right? So the matching process actually starts probably about a year, 6 months to a year before our client actually comes into class. And it starts with someone from our guide dog organization that goes out and actually physically visits our client because it's important for us to understand how our client, lives, what's the environment the dog is going to be working in, um, how taxing that environment might be, and so that we can pick the right dog. So you can understand that a dog that needs to work in downtown Manhattan is a different dog that is going to be working in a suburb. So it starts with that. Um, we start looking probably about at least 6 months in advance, throughout our puppy raising homes, for the dog that's exhibiting the right types of qualities that would be perfect for our client. And then on top of all of that, we take into account our clients' needs. So our clients, maybe like yellow labs. Somebody may like a golden retriever. Some, a 6'4" guy is going to need a different size dog than a 4'10", tiny woman would need. So all of that needs to come into account in looking for that right match.
That's a lot
And
of.
one of the, oh yeah, it's a lot that goes into it. And I will say there's always a touch of magic that goes into it too. There's always something that surprises us about the match. And I can give you, an example actually from a client in Portland. So we have a client that absolutely loves Happy Days. And every year he and his family go to Milwaukee and they visit the Fonzie statue. And it turns out the dog he ended up being paired with, not that we knew that he had this interest, the dog's name was Fonzie.
Oh, come
Little
on.
bit of magic that always goes into every single match. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, what is that feeling like for you and the staff when you see like that moment happen when a client is matched up with the dog and you just see it click?
Well, that's what we live for, right? And I have to tell you, even in talking about it, I get a little teary eyed because, oh gosh, now I'm really getting teary eyed. Sorry. But it's amazing to see not only that partnership work, but to see, how our client really excels in life and how they really start to experience the world. A good example, we had a client from Oklahoma who had never, ever traveled outside of her home city until she got a guide dog. And at the age of 70, um, she'd never been to Europe, always wanted to go to Paris. And after getting a guide dog at the age of 70, went to Paris, you know? So it's, it's things like that that, grab your heart, right? Because a guide dog completely changes, our client's world. They really do.
I mean, you said that it comes with a little bit of magic in there. I mean, that's an amazing story right there. Just
Yeah,
how
it
life
is.
changing that is.
It is. It
Um,
is.
yeah, to give somebody that sense of they can go do what they want to do and have that freedom to go do that and remove those roadblocks that have been there. Um, Talking about the organization for that side of things. Now I know you've got headquarters or headquarters out in Boring. Is that right?
The headquarters of the organization are in San Rafael, California, which is just north of San Francisco. And then we have another large facility in
That's
Boring,
that's what I meant.
which
Facility.
is, yes, no, and it's well worth coming out for a visit. We have graduations on our Boring campus every 2 weeks. If you haven't been out there to see a graduation, I highly recommend coming. It's a wonderful investment for an hour. Yeah.
That's something that the public can go do. They can come see the graduation ceremony.
Public can go do. You don't have to make a reservation. You can just come to campus. Um, we have tours that happen on Saturdays as well. So if you want to come, we'll also come a little bit early. We can take you on a tour of the campus. Um, but yes, anybody can come. The only requirement is bringing Kleenex. I guarantee you. Yeah.
So at the graduation? That's when they're being matched up with their new
So it's at the
partner.
graduation where our client and their dog have been training on campus with us for 2 weeks. Also, the puppy raiser who's invested, over a year of their time is there as well. And so this is an opportunity where the puppy raiser talks about what it was like, raising this little silly puppy who's now become this incredible, incredible dog, right? Who's got a very big job.
That's a lot of
Um,
emotions right there.
oh my God, absolutely. And I have to give our puppy raisers so much credit because after over a year of investment, now they give that dog back, right? So what a gift of love. And
Yeah,
then our client also talks about, um, the gratitude that they have for this opportunity to have this dog. So
amazing.
yeah,
Um, I want to make sure that we talk about the fundraiser coming up and all of that. And
thank
so to
you.
do that, I guess let's talk about the funding, just to give everybody an understanding of how that works.
Great. So what most people don't realize is, first and foremost, we don't charge for our services. All of our services are free, including lifetime veterinary support for our dogs. Um, and we support our clients wherever they live. So we're constantly checking in and making certain that that partnership is working. So all of that is free to our clients, and we receive no government funding. So we're completely dependent upon the support of our communities. And so fundraisers like we're having this Sunday are incredibly important because that helps us with being able to achieve our mission.
Amazing.
And yeah, it's most people don't realize that. And I again, I would highly recommend. We have a virtual fundraiser that's happening on Sunday. It starts at 5:30. A great investment in an hour. You can go onto our website, guidedogs.com, and get, all the information of how you can, plug into that fundraiser. But it's an opportunity. It's going to be fun, a lot of fun, opportunities to learn more about Guide Dogs for the Blind, some fun videos. You'll see some great puppies and dogs. And it's an opportunity to donate to.
That's great. And so guidedogs.com.
Guidedogs.com. Yes.
Perfect. I just thought of one other question here,
Yeah.
just something that I think probably could help other people out there. So for the general public, when you see someone with a seeing eye dog, or with a guide dog rather, it's probably guide dog's the preferred term. Is that correct?
The guide dog is the preferred term. Yes.
Okay. So for the general public, when they're out there and they see someone with a guide dog, sometimes your instinct may be to go, oh, I want to go pet that dog. I know that's not right, but what are some general rules and tips that everybody should know?
Thank you for bringing that up, Greg. Because yes, when a dog's in harness, whether the dog is sitting or whether it's moving through space, it's technically working. And a guide dog, in order to do their job, has to be 100% focused on that job, right? So one of the analogies we use is that, if you see somebody walking down the street with a guide dog, if you were to try and pet that guide dog, it's no different than if I'm driving my car and somebody all of a sudden, jumps on the windshield, right? I can't see, I can't do I can't drive. So we ask that you don't pet a guide dog, but please talk to the individual. Say, hi, my name's Chris. Um, what a great dog. Would you mind if I pet your dog? Most people, unless they've got to be somewhere right away, will say, absolutely, would love to, have you do that. Let me put my dog in a sit stay. Some clients even choose to remove that harness because that's the indication that, hey, you're not working, you know, and um, and then please go ahead and pet my dog. One of the things that a guide dog does is that it's a social bridge. It's a bridge to the community. Um, blindness is very isolating. We connect through sight. So if you can't see, it's really hard to connect to people. And most of the time, if somebody's using a cane, people are reluctant to say anything to someone, right? Um, but if you've got a guide dog, people are like, oh man, oh gosh, hi, can I pet your dog? Um, but that interaction is just a wonderful way actually to include somebody, right, with a visual impairment into the community. It now starts to elicit a conversation, and then blindness isn't so lonely anymore.
Wow. Amazing work that you do there and that you're doing. So Chris, thank you very much for joining me too and just educating us and educating myself. Just learning, about how the program works and how many people that you're helping out there and how people can help you as well with the
Thank you.
fundraiser and funding. And anything else you want to share?
You know, um, I'm just going to put a plug in for volunteering. We're always looking for volunteers, not only on our campus in Boring, but also puppy raisers. So it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to raise a dog and change a life. We have a wonderful sort of structure around puppy raising. It's a great way to meet some other people in your community doing the same thing. And again, if people are interested in puppy raising, you can go to our website at guidedogs.com and learn more about that process and how to sign up.
Great. Well, Chris, thank you very much for joining me here today. Really, really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Greg. It was my pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, thanks. And have a great day.
You too.
And so there we go. So again, here with Fox 12 Now, we get to learn about a lot of things here on this show. We cover all kinds of different topics, whether it's breaking news or learning about that. Guide Dogs for the Blind, and a great organization. Coming up here, so we're going to reset. Coming up at 1:30 p.m., we're actually going to be talking to a representative from Intel and from Central Cultural to talk about a robotics tournament. So all of that's combining into a robotics tournament that's going on at Intel over this weekend for youth from all over the region. So we're going to discuss that and how that all works at 1:30. So if you're watching on social media, you'll see this feed end. If you're watching on the website and apps, I'll still be there. I'm going to continue on going, so you can stay with me over there. And otherwise, I will talk to everybody right back here in just a few minutes at 1:30 p.m. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.